Hello everyone and welcome to the F45 Discovery Day. My name is Bianca and I'll be your host for today. Looks like we've got a diverse group on today from various parts of Canada and outside. We look forward to giving you some insight on F45 and cover any questions you might have about owning and operating your own F45 studio. Today's Discovery Day might be directed at Canada, although all the information and knowledge you'll get from today can be applied to all markets and regions around the world. We'll be covering some interesting topics today, which typically do come up before securing an F45 franchise, but these can be used on a global scale. Our goal for the session today is to provide you with as much information as possible so you can feel totally comfortable and confident with moving in the next steps of your F45 journey. Feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat box below. We'll be monitoring this throughout the session, so please put anything you'd like in there and we'll do our best to get to them. Chances are more often than not, something you might be thinking is what someone else is thinking. So there's no silly questions. This is your hour of power. So yeah, feel free to put them in there. Now, us at HQ, we could talk hours and hours about F45, but I think it's really important to get it from an F45 franchisee's perspective. They've faced their challenges, they've had their wins, and they understand firsthand what it's like to own an F45 studio. Today, we've been joined, lucky enough to be joined by two studios from very different backgrounds, journeys, both operating in Canada. They're central parts of the business, and we think their diverse background is something everyone can relate to. So let's just jump right in. First panelists are Whitney and Chris Skeates, who are the owners of F45 Whitby West in Ontario, Canada. This dynamic duo opened their studio in November 2019 and currently have Oswana Central in the works. Chris and Whitney, thanks for joining us today. Do you mind giving us a little rundown of your F45 journey so far?
Absolutely. Thanks Bianca for the awesome introduction there, and welcome everyone looking into becoming franchisees like us. So I think Whit tells this story better, but I'll give it a go right now. So I used to work 9 to 5 for corporate lifestyle. I used to work at Canadian Tire and then Lowe's doing supply chain management type of stuff, office work. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to see it, for me, fortunately, I was let go from Lowe's as a mass layoff. They closed their office in Mississauga and moved everything over to our Montreal office with the Rona merger, if you know about Lowe's, Rona, and all that good stuff. So at that time, it was November 2018 that we got the notification, and I turned to it and I said, you know what, like it's time we do something for ourselves here. And we were always interested in fitness. For myself personally, I was in the military for 5 years, and at the time in the military, and I'd grown up playing hockey, had personal trainers, played all the semi-pro sort of thing, and was really into it. And we were always looking for that out for the 9 to 5. And at that time, I turned to it and said, you know what, let's do something. Let's look into it. We were looking into Orange Theory and the Snap Fitnesses of the world. And she said, you know what, we have to try F45. She was connected with the Markham studio, who's a great owner up there, Bart Harvey. So we did a trial there. She actually dragged me.
Yes, I will pull up credit for this. So I was working for Lululemon at the time, and Lululemon and F45 just meld so well together. They're really great at supporting F45 and building that partnership. So the Lululemon and Markham had partnered with the F45 and Markham. So I had gone to a bunch of F45 classes. I turned to this guy, I'm like, we need to try an F45 class. He was your typical guy. No, I'm not doing group fitness. Like, no way, no how.
Yeah, well, what is this, a Zumba class? Like,
dragged him to a Panthers class. He got his butt whooped, and literally 45 minutes after the class was done, he's like, where do I sign? This is amazing. He fell in love with the energy, the one-on-one coaching, just everything that F45 is. And from there, it was kind of pretty quick. We secured a location, and it's been a wild ride ever since, but one that we would not trade for the world.
Yeah, and just like what was saying there, just like what you guys are doing right now, talking to us and Bianca, the other studios, getting a sense for what's entailed and what's involved with owning a franchise. We had that conversation with Bart and Markham, and multiple conversations with other owners, and that's what really sealed the deal for us. And when you compare it against the other franchises as well, it's a really great model. But yeah, that's our beginning story for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. That was really good. The second studio we have on board is we have franchisee Brittany Mclean, who is the owner of F45 Kitchener Sportsworld, also in Ontario, Canada. She opened a studio in February 2020 and also has a second one, Waterloo North. Brittany, thanks for joining us today. Do you mind giving us a quick outline of your journey so far?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And I'm so excited to see the 45 of you on here. This is amazing. So I'm kind of backwards to Whit and Chris. So I was the one who was dragged into F45 and was not the person who was going to go to F45 at all. So our journey, Aaron, my partner, had come to me probably about 5 years ago now and had seen all of his friends posting about this F45 thing on social media. He wanted to open one right away. At the time, I was self-employed, so I have been in the sales and marketing industry for a long time with various network marketing companies. And so for me, I had that sales background. He's like, this will be a perfect mix. He was a hockey coach and a ex-hockey player, and so thought this would be a great mesh. It kind of fell through. We didn't really have much family support at all. And then fast forward a couple of years, my dad actually met Jamie Britt randomly through the construction industry, and he fell in love with kind of the opportunity and how things looked. And so kind of just all clicked for all of us that this would be a good family thing to do. And so we actually joined an F45 local to us. Aaron dragged me very reluctantly. At the time, I was about 30 pounds overweight. I was not your fitness person. I hated working out. And so he dragged me to my first class, which happened to be Brooklyn, which for those of you who've never done F45, Brooklyn is a like MMA or like fight inspired workout. And Aaron was my partner. And I think I came home with bruises on every part of my body. I thought I broke my wrists. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done. And so he's like, let's just continue going rest of the trial. And within 3 or 4 days of the trial, I was hooked. And we knew this was something that we could do. And we knew it was something that we could do well, just because of our love of people. So coming from, I have a sales background, Aaron didn't have much of a sales background, but we both just had that passion for helping people. And so we knew this was something that we wanted to proceed with. And so 1 turned into 2 in the middle of a pandemic. But here we are and wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. So alongside our awesome franchisee panelists, we have our Epic HQ team, Chase Cooper, who's the franchise sales manager in Canada, and also Justin Shinn, who's the head of performance at F45. They'll be able to chime in at any point throughout the session to answer any of your questions. But guys, do you mind giving us a quick rundown of what your role is at F45?
Sure, I'll jump in. So thanks for that intro, B, and Chris, Whit, Britt, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get through a lot of good content, so I don't want to take up too much time here. But first and foremost, as Bianca said, I'm the franchise sales manager here for F45 in Canada. I'll be here to guide you through the journey. A lot of you have spoken with me already. If not, we'll have my information up at the end, and you can connect with me directly. And if you're outside of this market, I'll be happy to pass you on to anybody else locally. Just want to go into my journey because it's very relevant and it's similar. And I'm actually going to be opening an F45, in Q1. That's the plan. So I'm super pumped. Yeah, it's exciting, and I never thought I'd be in this opportunity to do it and to share this this journey with all of you. But essentially, I had a buddy in 2017, came back. He was a Canadian guy living in Brisbane, and he came back for Christmas, came over, and he was a different person. I mean, 40 pounds lighter, shredded, mentally just a different guy. And I said, what did you do? What did you do in Australia? I mean, I know people are good looking over there, but you know, what did you do? And he said, F45 changed my life. And I was like, okay, tell me more. He goes, I won the challenge. So if you don't know what the challenge is, we can chat about it after. But he essentially won the challenge, came home, and he was just walking around like a peacock, right? So I said, okay, this guy, I need to see what this is all about. I reached out, realized there was nothing local to me. And 3 months later, marketing works. And I got a note that said there's one opening in my backyard. So I signed up for a trial. I think I went 37 days in a row. It was the best thing I've ever done. I've done, you know, pretty much everything, been into fitness my whole life, but nothing's captivated me and caught me so much. The community, I mean, we could talk at length about that, but I mean, it was just amazing. I literally felt like it was Christmas every morning when I woke up, because I couldn't wait to see what the workout was. Like, I'd never worked out in the morning, and it's like 5 in the morning. I'm ready to go. Let's go. So I sat down with the owner. We discussed, you know, how he got into it, his journey, and how can I do this? I just, you know, I was so passionate about it. I couldn't believe it. Fast forward 6 months later, I was coaching, right? So organically, I was never a coach, but that happens a lot. You know, coaches grow from within your walls, and you never know that they were coaches to begin with, but you know, it happens. I started coaching even more, and I was looking for a career change. I was always in sales capacity. And I literally fell upon an ad on LinkedIn, and it said Franchise Sales Manager Canada. And I said, hello, that's me. Like, let's do this. So, you know, I joined 2 years ago, never looked back. I'm on this rocket ship. I'm super excited. I mean, we had a little blip over the last 18 months. We're coming back stronger. We're here. And once again, you know, I'm going to be opening my own, and I couldn't be more thrilled. So I can walk you guys through the journey, and I'll turn it over to Justin to do a little intro, and then let's get into the content. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, thanks, Chase and Bianca, and the rest of you joining the call. So my journey with F45 ultimately started with Peter Pisani. Unfortunately, he's no longer with F45, but we got hired at a CrossFit gym at the same time as trainers. And then from there, I worked in operations with CrossFit and other boutique brands. And then Pete brought me back into the fold about 2 years ago. And since then, obviously, we've gone through a lot of changes, not only with the company, but also with the climate of COVID and everything else that's going on. But it's been an amazing ride so far. It's been great to build relationships with all the owners within.
And thanks so much, Justin. Really appreciate you jumping on. And yeah, let's just jump straight into the questions. Chris and Whitney, I'm going to shoot this one at you. As a husband and wife team, do you have any advice for any other couples or friends looking to own a business together?
Definitely.
I'll let you take this one.
Yeah. You know, we've spoken to a lot of couples and a lot of people that are looking to open studios. And I feel like when we spoke to Bart, the best thing he did for us was he did not sugarcoat anything. And that was the biggest favor he could do for us. And so when we answer questions for potential franchisees, we don't like to sugarcoat. I will tell you, it was the first year, COVID aside, it was challenging, and it is a lot of work. And I feel that you need to be dedicated, you need to be passionate, you need to really be in it for the right reasons, you know, and really want to help people get healthier, stronger, build that community vibe. It is definitely a grind. I remember Bart saying to us, you know, be prepared. It will change your relationship. And it did. I mean, we went through so many kind of like, it was a roller coaster of like learning and ups and downs that I don't think you can ever really prepare for. All of that being said though, so worth it. But I think that going into something like this, you just need to be really realistic and be prepared for the fact that especially as a husband and wife, your relationship is going to change, right? And as long as you're open to that, and as long as you can communicate, I mean, I feel like I sound like I'm a relationship therapist right now, but it really is true. lines of communication and figuring out, okay, like I'm going to be handling this, you're going to be handling this, and just really working together as a team. I think that this is one of the best opportunities that you can do as a couple. And funny enough, like so many members are husband and wife or partner teams, because you do have the potential to be like hugely successful. But it's just, it's all about going into it with an open mind and just kind of learning to ride that wave and you know, pivot when you need to and adapt, and really just kind of having each other's back and working together.
Yeah, and what I'll add to that is with our second studio, we're actually doing things very differently. Our Whitby West location, when we first opened, we were working overlapping 12-hour shifts, 13-hour shifts. So I would start in the morning, like 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. Whit would start at 9 and go 9 till 9. So we high-five, we saw each other at work, but she handled the kids in the morning, I handled the kids in the evening. And actually COVID was a blessing in disguise, and we really took a step back to reflect on what was important in our life, and that balance between work and life, and being there as a family. So with our second studio, we're actually taking that step back a little bit sooner, and we're not going to be working those crazy hours. We've hired a lot more up front, you know, and we really wanted Whitby West to be very, very successful. And we were of the mindset that we were the only ones that can make it that successful. As the owners, we're the only ones that are going to care, and that's totally incorrect. When you find a great team and a great head trainer, and you have that good coaching staff, the community will build itself, and you'll actually find that the community grows faster and better than when you were there doing everything. Because as cool as you can be, people will get sick of seeing your face all the time too, right? So it's good to have that 2020 kind of vision afterwards, and have that reflection. But yeah, it is a grind, and you will learn a lot really, really fast. But yeah, that's kind of our story, and just keep those lines of communication open, and use your resources like Chase and Justin and the performance team and the marketing teams that you have.
Perfect.
I'd love to add to that, if I could, about working with a partner. The one thing for us that was huge was finding our strengths. So you're not both good at everything, and it's okay to admit that. And it took a lot of time for us to recognize that we both can't do everything. And if we do, stuff's getting missed, or stuff's getting overlapped, or I'm reaching out to someone that Aaron's already talked to. So what we did is we found our strengths and we focus on those things. So Aaron's amazing in studio, phenomenal. He is a fantastic trainer. And so that's his thing. And so he's on the ground more talking to people, whereas I'm the mind body person. If Aaron had to go through mind body, I don't think he would know what he's doing. So I do the behind the scenes. I do the sales through Loyal Snap. I do all of that stuff. And so if you're looking to get into this with a partner, you have to figure out your strengths and split, like divide and conquer, or else your business is not going to work, and your relationship is not going to work because we've had those moments. But yeah, just had that.
Thanks so much, guys. That's some really good insight. Brittany, I've actually got one for you here. We've had a bunch of questions come through about trainers and staff. Since one of the most important elements of a business is the people, how did you hire the right staff and trainers?
Okay. Can I not sugarcoat this? It's really hard. And we were very lucky that we knew a lot of people prior to our first studio opening. So our first studio, we actually transitioned a decent number of members to trainers. And that being said, these are individuals who have either a degree in biomechanics or kinesiology or phys ed or whatever it might be. They aren't just random people we found as members that were great. They had the education, and they also were willing to get their personal training certificate. So for us, it was an easy transition to take a couple of members and transition them into trainers. That doesn't help you when you're just opening and you haven't gotten a feel for what's going on. So we did an Indeed ad, and we interviewed the heck out of everybody. And what we did, and I don't know, I'm sure many studios have done this, but we did what we called an audition. So I'm actually from the yoga world. And so when I was going through my yoga training, most yoga studios do auditions where you go in and you have to actually teach a portion of a class. And so I actually brought that over to our studio. We hosted an audition and we had all of our staff actually go through the introductions, some cues, take us through a portion of the class. And that really helped us. This was also a time when you could get like 300 Indeed applications. So that was our biggest thing. We also hired people less off of experience and off of a resume and more off of an individual that I could go to a restaurant with and have dinner and have a beer and enjoy my time with, because that's the kind of people that we are. And that's the kind of people that we were also attracting into our business. And so I didn't really care if you had 50 million hours in kettlebell training or whatever it was. I wanted the people that were people and truly cared about what was happening. Our second studio, we got 2 applications for personal trainers. So it is a struggle, not sugarcoating it right now. A year and a half ago, it was a little bit easier. Now is a time when people don't necessarily want jobs, or they've changed careers or whatever it might be. So it is a definite challenge right now in today's world. Referrals are your biggest bet. We ask people for referrals all the time. And then if you refer somebody to us who is an amazing trainer and we hire them, I'll gift you something. And so we've asked for a lot of referrals. Our second studio is basically all employed by referrals. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, and I think for like Britt hit the head on the nail for that initial kind of, interview process and finding people. And then it's like, once you do have your trainers, retention is so key. We've been blessed that we literally have every single trainer that is with us has been with us from the beginning. And I think, just building that community, not only with your members, but with your team is so, so, so important. We really make a point to, to do team events. We do like Zoom calls. We do like meetings often. We do a lot of things so that our team now, they're not just coworkers, they are literally family. They have each other's back. But that's something at an owner level that I think that you have to create. And then that's where you're going to see your retention. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, Chase touched on this, but members, I don't know how many members we have turned into trainers, and they make trainers.
Yeah, they love it.
They're so passionate about F45. They live it, breathe it every day, so much so that they want to do it. Like, hello, they're like, it's like a cesspool of potential amazing trainers. So yeah, once you're open, like pick out those ones, like the committed players that are there every single day, and be like, hey, have you ever considered? And you'd be surprised at how many times they're like, yes, I've been thinking about this. Those are the ones you want to get.
Give them that little nudge, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. That's some awesome information. Chris and Whitney, I'm going to shoot this one at you. The F45 brand is all about creating a community. How did you build your members up and grow your membership base and community base at the start?
Yeah, no, great question. And I think a lot of that did stem from myself. I had no sales background whatsoever starting any of this. It was more on the back end operations side with my corporate 9-to-5. And having done all of the sales leading up to opening, I got to meet everyone through phone calls over the phone, get to know their goals, get to know them and what type of member they are. So we had that already, that interactive piece going on. And then once we got in the studio, it was introducing everyone to each other. One thing we're doing right now with our Oswana location, this weekend we're having an open house. So it's not just a chance for them to come see the studio, but it's come meet the other members, come meet the staff, come meet the coaches, get used to that environment. And the community, once you start, again, it's giving that little bit of a nudge to the members to interact with each other. We also created a Facebook page, members only page. So there's lots of interaction happening in there, and they can get an insight. Yeah, it's digital, but they can still get an insight with each other and get to know each other through those digital platforms outside of the gym. And then it kind of just naturally happens. Regardless if you're good at building community or not, it will naturally happen. People will meet each other. Human interaction is inevitable, especially when you get that routine going down with your members. The 6 a.m. class will always know they're the 6 a.m. class, and then you see them on weekends and they're like, oh, there's a 6 a.m. crew staying together. And they start building these like cohorts almost. And when you do lots of the other events, unfortunately with COVID, we can't do many of them right now. Like, we have yet to do a challenge party, and we can't wait. Our members are like starving for it, but we know once we're able to do a challenge party, that will also bring everyone together. And doing large team events really, really helps build that community. And not just for the members, but same with the staff. And we already touched on that, doing the team events with the staff and going through goals like that. You want to do that with the members as well. And we did that before one of our challenges. We got all the members together that were interested. We did this meeting and info session, but then they could ask questions. They could talk to each other afterwards, and it's that mingling that we allow to happen, right?
One tool that I would definitely recommend, if it's accessible to you and you can do it, is before you're even open, boot camps. Boot camps. We did so many free boot camps, and it was so cool. The day that we actually opened this studio, all of the members knew each other. Like, they all knew each other from coming to these boot camps. So it was like before the studio, before we even opened our doors, we had a community. So if you're able to, like, depending on where you are, weather, all that stuff, but it's a great way to just like kickstart that community before you even open your doors.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. Marketing has been mentioned a lot in the chat box, and methods on how to get your studio name out there in the pre-open stage. Brittany, what was your pre-open launch strategy at the start?
For us, it was very much about meeting people where they were at. So I have sales background. I can sell. I believe that I could really sell anything if I wanted to, but most people don't want to be sold to. And I can attest to the fact that, like, I hate when someone tries to sell me something blatantly. So what we did was very much just meeting people where they were. And so it's an expensive membership. And so if you can't afford a membership, like, I'm going to talk to you about how to make it work and the difference and all that stuff. But if somebody can't truly afford a membership, they can't afford a membership. If this isn't for somebody, it's not for them, right? It's not a matter of talking somebody into something. And so one thing we did from day one was I worked with Loud Rumor, the marketing company, very closely. And the individual who we had working with us, our sales individual, was so amazing at helping us with ideas. So one of the things that we did was send out video text messages. And so they would fill in information. I had never done this in my entire life. And I was like, if I received a video, I don't know what I would actually do. Like, I would be kind of creeped out. But it was like Christmas time when we were going through our pre-marketing sales. And I was sitting in front of the Christmas tree one night. I had a couple glasses of wine, and I'm like, I'm just going to record a bunch of videos. So I recorded a bunch of videos. A couple were in response to people. A couple of them were like just introducing myself. And my biggest recommendation to those of you who are looking to do this is, I believe you have to be involved. I know many individuals that own studios that are very disconnected from their studio. They don't run it. They are not involved at all. And one of the things that people were very respectful and they loved so much was that myself and Aaron were the ones doing everything. At the time, we couldn't afford to pay people to do it. So we did everything. I sent out the video text messages welcoming them to the studio. I sent out video messages asking them if they have questions. And people were so interested and willing, and they knew who we were, and they were willing to just hand their credit cards over to us. I dropped the ball, and I know this works because I dropped the ball with our second studio. We were so focused on just getting people in, and I was so focused on the sales, and that studio has definitely struggled. And sure, it's the middle of a pandemic, but I definitely dropped the ball on a lot of those different marketing ideas and stuff like that. So as soon as a lead comes through your email, I've sent them a message, and I had those videos in my phone pre-recorded, and I would just shoot them a text message. And people were very ready and willing to talk to you. So that was my tactic in making it less about sales and making it more about the person and that connection and relationship.
Perfect. Thanks, Britt. That's awesome. So Chris and Whitney, I'm going to shoot this one at you. How did you establish a viable price for your market? Did you do some market research into your competitors before you opened, or did you use any other tactics?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things we did, and for the potential owners on the call that are looking to do sort of business loans, either with your bank or an outside source, a lot of them will require a business plan. And a really good business plan, you've already laid out the competition that's near to your potential location. So you want to do that research and see what the competition is charging in your area. Because a lot of the times, you know, the Orange Theories of the world or the CrossFits are going to be your two closest competitions. And when you source out what their pricing is like and what their strategies are, it'll really help you gauge where you fit in the landscape. I know as a rule of thumb, when we were going through induction back in June 2019, a rule of thumb was take Orange Theories pricing and increase it by 10 to 20%. And that's a good kind of starting point. The other thing that you want to take into account with how quickly F45 is growing is the other F45 studios in your area. A lot of them are really, really good. They're owners just like us and just like you guys will be. And it's when you reach out to them like, hey, what's your pricing like? Because I don't want to step on your toes and undercut you. But at the same time, I also don't want to be 50% more expensive. People are like, well, I'll just go there. I'm kind of in the middle. So you want to be very close with the studios that are around you and have your pricing very, very close to that. So that all goes into that research. The biggest thing to keep in mind with F45 is that it is a premium product, and don't be afraid to charge premium prices because people will pay it when they see how much value they get out of it. You know, when you look at a big box gym like Good Life or LA Fitness, yeah, they have a lot of amenities that they'll add to their, we call it the shopping cart, filling that shopping cart for the gym membership, like the pool, the tennis courts, and all that fancy stuff they have, which at the end of the day, not a lot of people really take advantage of. They go in there, they use the machines, they leave. Here, everything you add in that shopping cart, they get every single day, whether it's the towel service and the one-on-one coaching, the meal plans, the challenges, the in-body scan, everything that's included with that gym membership. It's not just a gym membership, it's so much more. And when you factor all of that into it, that's where you can come up with that pricing. But the biggest thing, especially if you're in already a market that has F45s already in it and you're going nearby within that 10-kilometer range, reach out to those owners. Hey, what is your pricing strategy? What's been working? They may have tried a couple of different things and kind of go from there. That's the best way to come up with your pricing strategy. There's also a lot of other resources online. Britt mentioned Loud Rumor, so we're still working with them. There's also the performance team, Justin's team, that you can reach out to, and they'll help provide that guidance as well in setting your pricing, both for the foundation memberships, but also once you're open and what does that look like.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. Britt, I'm going to hit this one at you. We love hearing about the wins, but also touching on challenges, because essentially this is how we grow as business owners. What's the biggest challenge as a business owner that you've overcome?
COVID.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but at the end of the day, those of you who are on here are going to be opening your doors in either COVID or post-COVID if we ever get through it. So at the end of the day, you can look at things two ways. So our biggest challenge has for sure been COVID. We're the kind of people, we're very solutions oriented and less problem focused. And so when something comes up, we figure out a way to get through it. And so I hate the word pivot because everyone uses it these days, but literally this past year and a half has been about pivoting. And I've seen so many studios, and I'm sure Chase and Justin have heard from them, complaining about what's going on or crying about how things are so crappy or whatever it might be. But for us, it's been about pivoting and just about literally turning things over as we had to. So COVID's hard. We've had to do things in our business that I never imagined that we would have to do. We've had to put ourselves on the line on multiple occasions. And it's literally a matter of serving the people that are in front of you. And Aaron and I are very focused, and I've said this a couple times already, on our members. Our members are everything to us. Our business isn't anything without them. And so it's easy for us just to say, screw it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm so frustrated, and throwing in the towel, but that's not serving anybody. It's definitely not serving you or your bank account either. So what do you have to do to keep moving? And so all I can say to people who are looking to get into this is you have to be a problem solver, and definitely not focused on how crappy things can be, and just looking at the next step. So boot camps, we hated boot camps. Every second of every day, I hated them. 8 boot camps every morning we ran during lockdown when we were allowed, every morning from 5 a.m. in that parking lot. Despised them, but our community grew because of that. And so all I can say is there are only problems if you make them problems. So the biggest challenge has been COVID, but it's not going anywhere. So you have to just focus on what's next, what can you do, what can you change, how can you grow, and then just go from there.
I just want to jump in quickly. So when you mentioned boot camps, one of the questions in there had said, what are boot camps? So I can just quickly answer it. It's just what we were running outside, keeping the members engaged. So when we weren't allowed to be in the studios, we were in the parking lots, we were in the parks, we were everywhere. So, I mean, that's what Brittany was speaking to with regards to boot camps. Now, Chris, we had a conversation the other day about your pre-COVID membership to what it is now. And I think you guys are pretty much back to where you were, if not even doing better. Can you speak a little bit to that and just kind of how you achieved that coming out of, when some people thought, is this ever going to end? Are we ever going to get back to where we were before? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely, Chase. So pre-COVID, we were, as Bianca mentioned in the beginning, we opened in November 2019, it was November 30th. So we were open for 3.5 months as brand new entrepreneurs, and then we were shut down. And when we shut down, we literally we were still high-fiving members. We'll see you in 2 weeks, flatten the curve. We'll see you in April, like whatever, right? And yeah, it's hilarious now when you look back, but that was our mindset. Like we've never seen a global pandemic. We've never seen businesses being forced to shut down for any reason. So in our very first year as entrepreneurs running a fitness studio, we never thought in a million years we would be shut down and forced to close our doors. So one thing we did very, very quickly, and with the incredible support of F45 and the tech team and all the athletics department, we were able to pivot. And in Brett's word, not gross word, we were able to pivot right away to an at-home program. In its very early stages, it was very, very limited. F45 cranked it out as quick as possible, doing body weight movements. Whit and I actually took it one step further. Since we were closed, my mom was retired, so watching our kids for us, we were still able to come to the studio, and we recorded those workouts for our members. And we were sending them to them every day with our instructions. So one of us would work out. Usually Whit would lose the rock, paper, scissors. And then the other one would be behind the camera, walking them through. So I was coaching Whit through it, but I was coaching our entire member group. We did have quite a few that paused, but we also had quite a few that kept going with this at-home program. And because of our quick pivoting and, like Britt said, that solution-based to the problem-solving and solution-oriented, we kept that community going. We really drove that our Whitby West at-home members-only group on Facebook. We're posting in there daily with not only the workouts, but how'd you like this? We had comments from members that, you know, they would watch our workouts before they actually did the workout. They would watch it for the 45 minutes just to hear us going back and forth, bantering and like, oh, Whit, you're doing that wrong, do it this way, or like however it was. And we kept that community going, even though it was virtual, as much as we could. And then, like Britt said, as soon as we were able to, we started working out outside, and that brought everybody back. Even the people that paused, that didn't have the motivation at home or the equipment or the space to do it. Some were living in small condos, that sort of thing. They came back out and they slowly started trickling in. And then when we were able to reopen in studio, we still had a free trial at the time, and it just exploded. So when you're thinking about opening a studio during COVID in this time, and Britt's doing the same thing with her second, we're doing the same in a couple of weeks with our second. Once the fear calms down with COVID and everything going on, people will be rushing back to fitness and health. And so many people have learned over the pandemic how important it is for your health. And they're very health mindset oriented, focusing on nutrition. What can I do to better my own immune system to fight things like COVID and the flu and the cold and everything else that's out there, right? And we're expecting a huge wave once things calm down with this pandemic, and it's just going to explode. And that's what happened this time last year. We actually set a record month in November. So Loud Rumor, the marketing company, ran a little challenge. It was a 25-90 challenge. So grow by 25% revenue in 90 days. And we actually hit 47% from August numbers to November's numbers. And it was just insane, the amount of people, the referrals and everything. Everyone was so health oriented, and we saw that huge boom. So yeah, we actually we're way ahead of where we were in March 2020.
Wow.
And Brittany, I know you had a similar experience when the lockdowns ended, I guess around this time last year. I think you had a huge influx as well of members.
Yeah, we brought in, over the course of boot camps that we ran during I think it was June, July, August, as soon as we could. I think it was like June 10th to August 16th or something like that. It's crazy that we even have to remember these numbers. We brought in 40 new members just in boot camp that then signed up. And
Right.
So lots of different ways that you can do this, but ours was, we never sold out of our founding memberships. And so we did a founding membership blitz basically to our boot campers and said, hey, as soon as we open, basically the founding membership is gone. And it was gone as soon as we reopened our doors. And so we brought in 40 new members. Our highest month we've ever had was October and November. They were like $2,000 off from each other. And so just to say, like, the pandemic was horrible, and it was the hardest thing we've ever done that first lockdown. Couples, I'm sure many of you were like, I thought we were going to kill each other, but we made it through. We survived. Our business survived. And then it was thriving. So we definitely are back over where we were when we first opened. Our second studio is a little bit different story, but our Kitchener studio is definitely back up there.
Awesome.
6 weeks before the pandemic, we had a party. This is, so I feel like everyone knows where they were when the pandemic hit. We had a party. Literally March 16th, we were having a party at our local little watering hole, having wings and beer with our members, talking about how I really hope, like, they're like, you better not shut down. And then the next day at 10 a.m., we told them we were closing. So what a time. Closing for 2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we have a question here for Justin on what makes an exceptional studio. From your experience with working with a high volume of studio owners and also studios, what do you think makes an outstanding studio?
Yeah, that's a great question, and a question that the performance team really evaluates quite often. And I think Chris and Whit, Brittany and Aaron have touched on this, is really figuring out kind of your roles within the studio and figuring out what your strengths are and closing the gaps of your weaknesses so that you can maximize operations throughout. You have to have a strong team of trainers to ensure that the quality of service is quite high for your members, and just building that community. And that community will actually allow you to sustain your business long term. If you don't have that community set within your studio, you're going to see a lot of turnover, not only with your staff members, but with the members themselves. So, everybody here touched upon community and how important that is. And that's one of the biggest values of F45, in addition to the quality of service that we provide our members.
Epic. Thanks, Justin. We've had a question here about reinvestment. Since Chris, Whitney, your second studio is on the way, and Brittany, you already opened your second studio. What made you want to reinvest in F45 and open a second location?
I didn't touch on this. So I think for us, it's F45 as a company. I cannot speak more highly about a company. This is our first experience as entrepreneurs, and literally we could not have done it without the entire team, from induction to their performance team, to athletics, to marketing, to pivoting so quickly during COVID. I just feel that F45 as a head office and as a whole goes above and beyond. Everybody that we have met along the way has been amazing, and you can tell that they care so much about each franchisee. It's crazy. You would think that this huge corporate company, and I'm sure there are a lot of them out there where it's just all about numbers. And we have just felt so much support from them, down to, pausing franchise fees for studios during COVID. Like, that is crazy and unheard of for a company to do that. So when it came time to it, for us to open a second one, it was just like a no-brainer, because I feel like F45 has made it so seamless for us. And it was just easy. It was just easy. It was just a no-brainer because of that support, that initial and support throughout that we've received.
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head there with the support and the team environment. And when we were able to, and we did that global summit in Vegas there, and meeting everybody, and you saw the culture, it really comes from the top down, that they are all about the people, all about the franchisees, and helping people get out of their 9-to-5, like our stories, and do something they love to do, helping others, healing others. And they could see that passion, and they give that opportunity for people to do that. And from there, for us, it was about helping the members, and Britt touched on this with making sure your solutions are member oriented. It's all about them. They're the bread and butter. They are what keeps everything afloat. And when you have that mindset, you just want to help more and help more and help more. And F45 is an incredible company to be with, and it was a no-brainer for us.
It's all continue. Addictive. The workouts are addictive, and then helping people is addictive, and before you know it, you want to open 5. It's just inevitable.
I relate it to when they say you get a tattoo, you get a tattoo, and they're like, you're gonna get more. I feel like F45 is the same. But for us, it was seeing the potential. So I think the big thing and biggest portion of F45 that I love, and you can see this from global summits, you can see this just through the community, is that it's not an all or nothing thing. So I think the one thing that I love so much about F45 is it really healed my relationship with a balanced lifestyle. And I feel like most people are that way with it, is that they exercise for their well-being, and they don't exercise to be this little skinny thing. It's very different than the gym world. And I find most people, once they get into that, they're hooked. I've never experienced a gym community anything like F45 in my entire life. And we did shopping. Corey told us, he used to tell us to private shop. He's like, go to different places and kind of see what they're all like. So you're aware of how things work. And nothing came up to the par of F45. And so for us, it was just seeing that potential, seeing the future of F45 and just seeing where we're going, which I love that F45 shares that information of where we're going in the next few years, opposed to just like, hey, this is where we are and this is where we're going to be kind of thing. So the future with F45 is what got us hooked to invest in another one and potentially investing in more. Chase is like,
you know, they say, you know, innovate, they're innovative, like that's what they stand by. And it's true, like they're just constantly, from like the equipment to the workouts, they're constantly evolving and growing and evolving and growing. So it's that seeing the potential and just feeling like you're a part of something, you're a part of this company that is damn good at what they do, and you know that they're just going to be successful and continue to go up and up and up. Like, yes, we want to be a part of that, right? For sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So a quick question, some advice for your future self. What would you do differently if you're starting from scratch?
Oh yeah, so I guess we kind of already touched a little bit on this with our second location, where we are taking that little bit of a step back and having more of a staff in place ahead of time. That said, we're still very involved with that second location. It's not like we're doing nothing, but we really want to empower our team on that side. Right now, it's mainly just sales, but it's also getting the coaches involved. They started with coaching and shadowing here, and our coaches here, so they really get that sense for F45. And then with that second location, it's recognizing that there needs to be a balance between work and life for us, and we will still work hard. Obviously, it's just going to be in a different capacity than coaching every single class, doing all of the sales and all of that. So it's that hindsight is 2020. I love that saying because it really is. And you take what you've learned over the last couple of years for us in this studio, and we're going to apply it right away. So you don't have that massive learning curve right in the beginning. And if we could start all over from scratch, I would have started earlier, to be honest, and I would have made that jump sooner before getting that kick in the pants from my employer. Made the jump sooner. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to actually pass this over to Chase now to tell what the next steps are. He's going to outlay what, the next steps are in moving forward with your F45 opportunity.
No problem. I actually have one question for Justin just before we get there. I know we have a little bit of time, and both Chris and Whitney and Brittany and Aaron, they're owner operators, right? They stopped their 9 to 5. They went all in. Justin, what kind of words of wisdom could you give somebody that's potentially looking to be an investor, potentially have their hands in a little bit, but not going to be in the studio on a day-to-day basis, and kind of what they're what they should prepare for or what to expect? Just some words of wisdom for somebody that's in a different kind of profile than our panelists here today.
Yeah, for sure. So ultimately, I think the structure of the team is absolutely critical to the success of your business, whether you're owner, investor, owner, operator, if it includes yourself or not, having a heavy role within the business itself. But having the key players who can execute at a high level will be absolutely critical. You want to allow them to be successful by creating the roles within their scope, and then also training, upskilling, making sure that they continually learn throughout the growth of the business itself, leveraging the performance team and F45 HQ to stay on top of programming, marketing, sales, all those things. We role play quite often. So we are more than happy to help train and elevate your team as much as we possibly can. But ultimately, it's just finding the right people. That's the biggest difference. And ultimately, the team itself, as Brittany, Chris, and Whitney know, it takes a lot of grit to run a service-based business. So just kind of sticking with it, learning as much as you can, having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Try to get over the hurdles together as a collective, as a community, Ultimately, we're here to support you in every aspect of your business from beginning to end. So leverage us as much as you can.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Justin. All right. So we realized we didn't get to everybody's questions. There were a ton. I mean, thank you guys so much. We can take things offline. Once again, if you're not in my market here in Canada, and we do have some folks joining us from south of the border, as well as potentially other places around the world, just, reach out to me, let me know. And I don't know, Bianca, if you have that slide. I don't know if I can't see it, if it just makes sure that it's there to just anybody take down my information. So that's the first thing. We will answer everything that we have, all the questions there, and I apologize if we didn't get to it. I mean, we only had an hour. We could probably talk for another hour or two, if not a day. We all love F45 here, and you guys are obviously interested. You're on this call, so hopefully that we could share some great content for you. Tomorrow we'll send out, or following this, we'll send out an application form. So if you haven't thrown your hat in the mix, if you want to find out more, go down that journey, see if this is for you. This could help change your life and realize some goals or some dreams that maybe you think you have, or you may not even know you have yet. We're here to help. That's my job, and our team is more than happy to help you through that journey. But essentially that's it. I just wanted to thank our panelists so much. Brittany, Chris, and Whitney, you guys are doing amazing things. The amount of interest we've had coming out of your studios from members, it's been overwhelming. So thank you so much. Justin, thank you so much for sharing your insight from the performance team. And B, thanks so much for being a host and running the day today. Thanks so much, everybody.
No problem. Yeah, thanks everyone. We look forward to seeing your faces soon, and helping you build your empire.
And just to echo on Chase's words there, if any of you want to reach out to us as well and ask us personal questions, find us on Instagram, Facebook, etc. F45 Whitby West, and I know Kitchener, we all have our own Instagram, so happy answer your questions anytime.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you.